Today's story is one that shocked fans of the Real Housewives of Atlanta and left people wondering how deep the cracks really run inside the Burruss-Tucker family. Kandi Burruss, the Grammy-winning singer, songwriter, and entrepreneur who has always tried to hold her family together, found herself in a position that no mother ever wants to be in. She had to lash out at her own daughter, Riley Burruss, after Riley publicly humiliated her stepsister Kaela Tucker. The moment was explosive, emotional, and raw, and it has since spiraled into a family drama that fans can't stop talking about. On the outside, Kandi's life has always looked like a success story. She's a powerhouse in the music industry, a businesswoman with multiple ventures, and a beloved reality TV star. But behind the cameras, things aren't always as glamorous as they appear. Blending families is never easy, and for Kandi and her husband Todd Tucker, the challenges of bringing their children under one roof have created tension for years. Now, that tension has boiled over in a way that no one expected. What happened between Riley and Kayla wasn't just a small disagreement. It was the kind of clash that digs up old wounds, reveals long-hidden resentments, and forces everyone to pick a side. But here's where things get even more dramatic. Kandi didn't take Riley's side this time. She shocked everyone by calling her daughter out, showing that even in a blended family where loyalties are constantly tested, respect has to come first. Long before this moment exploded into the public eye, the Burruss-Tucker family had already been navigating years of complex dynamics. Todd Tucker came into Kandi's life with his daughter Kayla, while Kandi already had Riley from a previous relationship. For some families, blending kids together means double the love and support. But in this case, it also meant double the misunderstandings, double the differences in upbringing, and double the unspoken competition for attention. Kayla, Todd's daughter, has always been known as quiet, reserved, and deeply independent. She grew up differently than Riley, who had the benefits of Kandi's success, resources, and visibility on reality TV. Kayla didn't grow up in the spotlight. She didn't have the same access to luxury or opportunities. And though Todd worked hard to support her, fans often noticed that Kayla seemed like the outsider when a family was shown on screen. Riley, on the other hand, grew up in front of the cameras. From her teenage years, she was outspoken, bold, and often brutally honest. Fans loved her confidence, but sometimes her bluntness came across as cold even towards her own stepfather, Todd. There were moments on RHOA where Riley made it clear she wasn't Todd's biggest fan, and those comments created friction not just between her and Todd, but between Riley and Kayla too. For years, Kayla has tried to carve her own path. She's dabbled in fashion, worked behind the scenes, and tried to prove that she could stand on her own without depending on her father or Kandi. But in a family where one sibling is constantly praised for ambition and success, Kayla's journey often got overlooked. And that's where the emotional divide really began to show. The problem wasn't just about personality differences. It was about perception. Riley was seen as driven, ambitious, and destined for greatness. Kayla was seen as struggling to find her place. That perception followed them everywhere, from family dinners to reality TV episodes. And deep down, Kayla must have felt the weight of those comparisons, even if she didn't always say it out loud. So when Riley allegedly made comments about Kayla's independence or lack of it, it wasn't just a casual remark. It was like throwing salt on a wound that had been bleeding for years. Riley reportedly suggested that Kayla wasn't on her level when it came to success, hinting that Kayla hadn't worked hard enough to build a future for herself. Fans who heard about the comments said they were cruel, dismissive, and humiliating. For Kayla, this wasn't just an insult. It was a public reminder of every insecurity she's carried in this blended family. And for Todd, it was a slap in the face to watch his daughter be disrespected by Kandi's daughter. What nobody expected, however, was how Kandi would respond. Here's where the twist comes in. Kandi, who has always defended Riley with fierce loyalty, did something completely different this time. Instead of siding with her daughter, she lashed out at her. In front of everyone, Kandi told Riley that her words were out of line, that humiliating Kayla wasn't acceptable, and that being family means protecting each other, not tearing each other down. Can you imagine that moment? For Riley, it must have felt like a betrayal. She's used to being her mother's pride and joy, the one Kandi always protects no matter what. To suddenly be called out in such a direct way must have shocked her. But for Kayla, this moment was something she had probably been waiting for her entire life, her stepmother finally standing up for her. The fight didn't just end there. Sources say it created days of tension inside the Burruss-Tucker household. Todd reportedly supported Kayla, standing by her side and making it clear that he wouldn't let anyone disrespect his daughter. Riley, on the other hand, felt isolated not just from Kayla, but from her own mother. She reportedly pulled back, hurt by the fact that Kandi hadn't chosen her side. And this is where things get even more complicated. Fans online quickly began to debate the situation. Some people sided with Riley, saying that she was just keeping it real and pointing out that Kayla has struggled to establish independence. Others argued that Riley had gone too far, that her comments weren't just real but cruel, and that Kandi was right to check her. What nobody can deny is that this moment forced the family to face something they've been avoiding for years: the deep divide between Riley and Kayla. Think about the emotional impact this must have had on each of them. For Kayla, it was validation at last. After years of feeling like she wasn't fully accepted or supported in the same way Riley was, hearing Kandi defend her must have been overwhelming. It probably gave her a sense of worth that she had been waiting for since the beginning of this blended family. And for Kandi, this moment was devastating. Imagine being torn between your daughter and your stepdaughter, knowing that whatever choice you make will leave scars. Kandi has always prided herself on being a peacemaker, but in this moment, peace wasn't possible. She had to pick a side. And her choice sent shockwaves through her family. Todd, meanwhile, has been quiet publicly, but sources say he appreciated Kandi standing up for Kayla. For him, this wasn't just about one fight. It was about years of feeling like Kayla never truly got the same love and respect in the household as Riley did. Kandi's decision to lash out at Riley may have been the first real step toward leveling the playing field. But here's the question: was this the right way to handle it? Should Kandi have lashed out at Riley so openly, or should she have handled it privately to protect her daughter's dignity? Fans are divided, and the debate only adds fuel to the fire. What we know for sure is that this family drama has opened old wounds. The comparisons between Riley and Kayla are no longer just quiet whispers, they're loud, painful, and now impossible to ignore. Only time will tell, but one thing is clear: this wasn't just a fight about words. It was a fight about years of unspoken pain, about the struggle for acceptance, and about the complicated reality of blending families. So what do you think? Was Kandi right to lash out at Riley, or should she have protected her daughter while still defending Kayla? This story is a reminder that even the strongest families can be broken by the smallest words, and that healing, in a blended household, takes more than just love. It takes patience, understanding, and the courage to face the truth. And in the Burruss-Tucker family, the truth is finally out in the open. As the dust settled from that explosive fight, the Burruss-Tucker household found itself in uncharted territory. This wasn't a typical argument that could be brushed aside or smoothed over with a few kind words. This was a wound cut deep into the heart of the family, one that forced everyone to pause and face truths they had long ignored. For Kandi, Todd, Riley, and Kayla, this wasn't just the end of a heated moment, it was the beginning of a reckoning. For Kandi, lashing out at Riley was one of the hardest decisions she has ever made as a mother. Riley has always been her pride and joy, her first child, the daughter who grew up by her side during her rise to fame and fortune. Their bond was visible on camera, but behind the scenes, it was even stronger. Kandi has always wanted the best for Riley, often going above and beyond to protect her from criticism, trolls, and even family tension. But this time was different. Kandi knew that defending Riley would mean turning her back on Kayla, a young woman who already felt invisible in the family. In that split-second choice, Kandi realized that protecting Riley from consequences would only make the cracks in the family deeper. It broke her heart, but she had to show Riley that being outspoken doesn't excuse cruelty. Afterward, though, Kandi was left in silence with her own guilt. Did she do the right thing? Would Riley forgive her? Would this push her daughter away? These questions swirled in her mind, keeping her awake at night. For a woman known for balancing business, fame, and family, Kandi found herself questioning whether she could really keep her household from falling apart. For Riley, the confrontation was nothing short of a shock. She was used to being defended by her mother, even when her blunt personality rubbed others the wrong way. Hearing Kandi take Kayla's side instead felt like betrayal. Riley wasn't just upset about being called out, she was hurt. To her, she hadn't done anything wrong. She saw her words as honest observations, not cruelty. But what Riley didn't understand in that moment was that honesty without compassion can cut deeper than lies. Her sharp tongue, which fans often admired, had now become a weapon against her own family. The resentment lingered. Riley pulled back, avoiding long conversations with her mother and refusing to apologize to Kayla. In her mind, apologizing would mean admitting she was wrong, and she wasn't ready to accept that. Instead, Riley leaned on friends, sharing her frustrations privately while painting herself as misunderstood. The gap between her and Kandi widened, with silence filling the spaces where laughter used to live. Kayla's reaction was layered with emotions she didn't know how to process. For years, she had felt like the outsider, the one who was rarely defended, rarely celebrated, and often left to navigate her struggles alone. Hearing Riley dismiss her life as unambitious hurt deeply. It reminded her of every time she felt overshadowed, every moment she wondered if she was enough. But for the first time, Kayla also felt relief. Kandi had finally stood up for her, finally told Riley that enough was enough. That validation mattered more than Kayla could put into words. For once, she didn't feel invisible. Still, the pain of Riley's humiliation lingered, making it hard for Kayla to move forward. She withdrew into herself, hesitant to believe that things would truly change. But even Todd knew that this was not the end. His heart ached for both girls. He wanted Kayla to feel supported, but he also knew Riley's anger could tear their home apart even more. Todd was caught between feeling vindicated and fearing that this fight had created a wound too deep to heal. When whispers of the fight reached the public, fans erupted. Social media lit up with debates, hashtags, and threads dissecting every detail. Some fans sided with Riley, saying she was only speaking the truth about Kayla's lack of independence. Others slammed Riley for her cruelty, praising Kandi for finally standing up to her daughter. Inside the Burruss-Tucker household, the atmosphere grew heavy. Meals were eaten in silence. Conversations ended before they began. Even little Ace and Blaze, the younger children, felt the tension though they didn't understand it. The house that once echoed with laughter and music now carried a weight of unspoken words. Kandi knew she couldn't let this continue. She began considering therapy for the family, hoping a neutral voice could help bridge the divide. Todd supported the idea, but Riley resisted. She saw it as unnecessary, insisting that everyone was overreacting. Kayla, though hesitant, admitted she would be open to it. This fight between Riley and Kayla is more than a personal disagreement, it's a reflection of what so many blended families face. The struggles of favoritism, comparisons, and the pressure to blend two different worlds often go unseen by outsiders. But in this case, reality TV made it impossible to hide. Kayla represents the quiet child, the one who feels unseen, judged, and overshadowed. Riley represents the outspoken one, praised for confidence but criticized for cruelty. And Kandi stands in the middle, torn between protecting her biological child and supporting her stepdaughter. It's a story that resonates because it's real. So many families deal with these struggles behind closed doors. The Burruss-Tucker family just happens to live theirs out in the spotlight, where every mistake is magnified. As the family moves forward, several paths lie ahead. One path could lead to healing, with therapy, apologies, and time slowly repairing the damage. Riley might one day see the pain her words caused and make amends. Kayla might learn to trust that she is valued, no matter how different her path is. And Kandi and Todd might finally achieve the balance they've been striving for. But another path looms darker. If Riley continues to resent her mother's decision, the gap between them could grow until it becomes unfixable. Kayla, tired of being the target, might distance herself permanently. And Kandi could find herself caught in the heartbreaking reality of a family divided beyond repair. The truth is, only time will tell. In the end, this fight is not just about Riley humiliating Kayla. It's about love being tested by pride, loyalty being tested by honesty, and a mother being forced to make an impossible choice. Kayla, for once, has proof that her pain matters. Todd, though quiet, feels the shift he has long waited for. And Kandi? She carries the burden of holding it all together, praying that this storm will one day pass. The Burruss-Tucker family now stands at a crossroads. They can either let this fight define them, or they can use it as the spark to finally build the unity they've been missing. Because at the end of the day, family isn't about perfection. It's about forgiveness, growth, and the willingness to fight for love even when it hurts the most. And the pressure to blend two different worlds often go unseen by outsiders. But in this case, reality TV made it impossible to hide. Kayla represents the quiet child, the one who feels unseen, judged, and overshadowed. Riley represents the outspoken one, praised for confidence but criticized for cruelty. And Kandi stands in the middle, torn between protecting her biological child and supporting her stepdaughter. It's a story that resonates because it's real. So many families deal with these struggles behind closed doors. The Burruss-Tucker family just happens to live theirs out in the spotlight, where every mistake is magnified. As the family moves forward, several paths lie ahead. One path could lead to healing, with therapy, apologies, and time slowly repairing the damage. Riley might one day see the pain her words caused and make amends. Kayla might learn to trust that she is valued, no matter how different her path is. And Kandi and Todd might finally achieve the balance they've been striving for. But another path looms darker. If Riley continues to resent her mother's decision, the gap between them could grow until it becomes unfixable. Kayla, tired of being the target, might distance herself permanently. And Kandi could find herself caught in the heartbreaking reality of a family divided beyond repair. The truth is, only time will tell. In the end, this fight is not just about Riley humiliating Kayla. It's about love being tested by pride, loyalty being tested by honesty, and a mother being forced to make an impossible choice. Kayla, for once, has proof that her pain matters. Todd, though quiet, feels the shift he has long waited for. And Kandi? She carries the burden of holding it all together, praying that this storm will one day pass. The Burruss-Tucker family now stands at a crossroads. They can either let this fight define them, or they can use it as the spark to finally build the unity they've been missing. Because at the end of the day, family isn't about perfection. It's about forgiveness,